This is DX Central Live. This is DX Central Live. This is DX Central Live.
Welcome to DX Central Live, Season 5. We will be starting the show soon, so make yourself comfortable and be sure to join in on the conversation happening in the chat. Also, don't forget to submit your shout-outs, so we can celebrate together. The shout-out submission link is in the video description for our live stream. If you aren't already a subscriber, be sure to hit the subscribe button. While you are at it, giving this video a like and leaving a comment are great ways to help out the channel. We thank you for your continued support and look forward to seeing you in just a short while. Now get ready for DX Central Live, Season 5. Welcome to DX Central Live, Season 5. We will be starting the show soon, so make yourself comfortable and be sure to join in on the conversation happening in the chat. Also, don't forget to submit your shout-outs, so we can celebrate together. The shout-out submission link is in the video description for our live stream. If you aren't already a subscriber, be sure to hit the subscribe button. While you are at it, giving this video a like and leaving a comment are great ways to help out the channel. We thank you for your continued support and look forward to seeing you in just a short while. Now get ready for DX Central Live, Season 5. Welcome to DX Central Live, Season 5. We will be starting the show soon, so make yourself comfortable and be sure to join in on the conversation happening in the chat. Also, don't forget to submit your shout-outs so we can celebrate together. The shout-out submission link is in the video description for our live stream. If you aren't already a subscriber, be sure to hit the subscribe button. While you are at it, giving this video a like and leaving a comment are great ways to help out the channel. We thank you for your continued support and look forward to seeing you in just a short while. Now get ready for DX Central Live, Season 5. DX Central Live, Season 5. We will be starting the show soon, so make yourself comfortable and be sure to join in on the conversation happening in the chat. Also, don't forget to submit your shout-outs so we can celebrate together. The shout-out submission link is in the video description for our live stream. If you aren't already a subscriber, be sure to hit the subscribe button. While you are at it, giving this video a like and leaving a comment are great ways to help out the channel. We thank you for your continued support and look forward to seeing you in just a short while. Now get ready for DX Central Live, Season 5. Welcome to DX Central Live, Season 5. We will be starting the show soon, so make yourself comfortable and be sure to join in on the conversation happening in the chat. Also, don't forget to submit your shoutouts so we can celebrate together. The shoutout submission link is in the video description for our live stream. If you aren't already a subscriber, be sure to hit the subscribe button. While you are at it, giving this video a like and leaving a comment are great ways to help out the channel. We thank you for your continued support and look forward to seeing you in just a short while. Now get ready for DX Central Live, Season 5. Welcome to DX Central Live, Season 5. We will be starting the show soon.
This is DX Central Live.
In the night, so dark and quiet, frequencies hum low like a riot, tuning in with all my might, searching for a voice in flight. Cajun air, it holds the sound, radio waves from town to town. Static crackles, mix and turn, waiting for that name to learn. Signal fades, the name's unknown, trying to catch it all alone. Mystery calls, the night, my friend, searching till the very end. Moonlight dances on the dial, rumbling with that Delta style. Notes float softly in the wind, still I wait for news to send. Signal fades, the name's unknown, trying to catch it all alone. Mystery calls the night, my friend, searching till the very end. Bayou whispers keep me still, craving for that lingering thrill. Misted voices lost in haze, echoes in this southern maze.
This is DX Central Live.
He's got his antenna way up in the air, dreams of Latin music out there somewhere. Cards in his hand, maps on the wall, late nights waiting, but he gets no call. All those radio waves, they play with his mind, searching for signals, but they're so hard to find. From Puerto Rico to faraway land, tune in the static, still no guitar in hand. He's there in the darkness, waiting for a sign, humming to the silence with a hopeful line. But the airwaves are quiet, nothing comes through. Just another night, feeling deja vu. Oh, those radio waves, they tease and they taunt with promises of rhythms, but give him just one. From Puerto Rico, he's searching afar, dreams of a broadcast beneath the bright star. And in his small room, by the glow of the moon, he waits for a melody, morning or noon. Signals may fail, but his hope never fades. Seeking the music his spirit demands. Another dawn breaks, he's still at the dial. With every sunrise, he promises a smile. From Puerto Rico to faraway land, tune in the static, still no guitar in hand. He's there in the darkness, waiting for a sign, humming to the silence with a hopeful line. But the airwaves are quiet, nothing comes through. Just another night, feeling deja vu. Oh, those radio waves, they tease and they taunt with promises of rhythms, with a hopeful line. But the airwaves are quiet, nothing comes through. Just another night, feeling deja vu. And in his small room, by the glow of the moon, he waits for a melody, morning or noon. Signals may fail, but his hope never fades. Seeking the music his spirit demands. dance to the rhythmless blues.
This is DX Central Live.
I got my radio on, just trying to get on it. But my baby says no way, so I'm stuck in this chair. I dream of signals far from north to east to west, but I can't put up no antenna. She says it's for the best. Dreaming of DX, signals I can't hear. My baby won't let me, so I'm sitting here in tears. That static calls my name, whispering in my mind. But without that big old tower, the signals I can't find. I see the towers rise in a distant starry sky, but here I'm bound in time, can't even say goodbye. Dreaming of DX, signals I can't hear. My baby won't let me, so I'm sitting here in tears. Dreaming of DX, signals I can't hear. My baby won't let me, so I'm sitting here in tears.
DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
For more than 90 years, the National Radio Club has been at the forefront of providing DXers with the latest in station news, DX-related technical information, and reception reports from DXers around the world. The NRC's AM radio log, now in its 45th edition, is the most expansive and detailed resource of station information for US and Canadian radio stations that is available in any format. The club's publication, the DX News, is available in both print and electronic format and provides the latest information on call letter and format changes, construction permits, and other information to help keep DXers informed of the latest updates they may hear on the air. For more information, visit their website at nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org. With a lifetime membership, the International Radio Club of America gives DXers incredible value by putting important station information right at your fingertips. The club's e-publication, the DX Monitor, includes DXer loggings, station information updates, international loggings, and more. Other club publications include the IRCA Mexican Log, a must-have resource for any DXer that chases stations from Mexico, the TIS-HAR list, the IRCA slogan list, sunset sunrise maps, and DXer technical guides. The joint IRCA-NRC email reflector and groups.io group is a hub for real-time DX conditions, station news, and DX-related conversation. For more information, visit ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org. From long wave to satellites, medium wave through HF, ham radio to scanners. If you can DX it, the Spectrum Monitor has you covered. Editor and publisher Ken Reitz has assembled a who's who of radio writers to share their knowledge and expertise from a wide range of DX-related topics. Each month, the Spectrum Monitor's columnists dive into their specialties to give readers tips, tricks, the latest news and station updates, and more. The Spectrum Monitor also provides a monthly assortment of feature articles that give in-depth insight into the past, present, and future of DXing. You can get a full year of the Spectrum Monitor for only $24. Individual issues from the current year are available for $3 each. You can also purchase previous years of the Spectrum Monitor in their entirety for as low as $12. For more information, visit thespectrummonitor.com. That's thespectrummonitor.com.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
It's a Friday night, rolling in the North Shore, setting frequencies right. AM and FM, the airwaves collide. DX Central Live, where the signals can't hide. Tuning in the static, chasing down the sounds. Every single signal is magic we have found. All radios hum, the chatters all agree. DX Central Live is the place to be. Folks in the chat, shout out your call. From east to west, we're breaking down the walls. It's the magic of the night, where frequencies fly. Join us now on DX Central Live.
From the Gulf South
to your corner of the world,
this is DX Central Live.
now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
From the North Shore Studios in Mandeville, Louisiana. Welcome back, my friends. After a brief hiatus, we return for DX Central Live, Season 5, Episode 21. And hope this finds you doing well this evening. We had a restful hiatus. Well, okay, restful from the dials a bit. It's been a whirlwind. Nice to have you all in the chat, so make sure you're joining us in the chat if you're watching along. And while you're at, submitting things, don't forget your shout-outs. dxchallenges.com/shoutout. We got it pinned up in the chat. Go there and let us know what you've been hearing since last we met, which was February the 7th, a month ago was our last meeting. We had a fun Mardi Gras season here, going to as many parades as we could. We couldn't go to all the parades we wanted to. And then we got some bad weather here on Tuesday that prevented us, some of the Mardi Gras stuff that we wanted to do there. But I think they're going to be rescheduling some of those parades for later on, like around St. Patrick's Day. So we're going to try to do some of that. But fun Mardi Gras season here. So appreciate you guys letting us have an opportunity to parade about and celebrate here with our peoples here in the New Orleans, Louisiana area. And in the meantime, some interesting DX has been taking place. I have been kind of taking a bit of a break, recharging the batteries a little bit on the DX front and other things. But a lot of day job stuff, a lot of work stuff, some trips for work, which brought up a unique DX opportunity we'll talk about here in a bit. But I kind of took a bit of a break. I have had some logs kind of trickling in here over the last month or so, but really taking a break on the AM side and on the FM side. But hitting it hard on long wave, on NDBs. We had some fun doing that. Haven't really done much in the last week or so because, like I said, day job stuff has been kind of crazy. But really having some fun chasing NDBs. And I've been noticing the Slack channel, medium wave and FM both have been fairly quiet over the last month or so. But that NDB channel has been popping. Folks just having some fun with it. So we're going to share some of that tonight. We're going to talk about what we've been hearing on the NDBs down the long wave portion of the band, and share some of what we've been hearing, and also some of our techniques, and just how good that PA0 RDT mini whip is. Man, that thing is sweet. We will share a bit about what we have been hearing on the medium wave side. Not a lot, but what we have gotten, there's been some good stuff in here. So we'll talk a bit about that. We had a bit of an FM Tropo opening down here, a nice, beautiful Gulf Tropo opening this morning. And I knew it was coming because I was looking at Bill Hepburn's forecast, and I knew that starting around midnight last night into this morning, there would be some nice Gulf Tropo going. And then I forgot about that as soon as I walked away from the computer. Luckily, my autologgers caught quite a bit of really good stuff here during the opening. So we'll be sharing some of the things that our autologgers caught and some of the stuff that was there for us. And of course, your shout outs as well. Again, dxchallenges.com/shoutout. Get those in. And you go to our website, the challenge website. You want to register. You don't have to do the shout outs, but you want to do that anyway, because we will be announcing another challenge tonight as well. You do have to be registered to be in the challenges. We've been taking a break the last couple of weeks from the challenges. Our last was the 1,000-mile plus challenge, which was a lot of fun. I didn't get to do nearly as much of that as I wanted to, but it was there. You guys had a lot of fun with about 400 logs, 415 logs or so from that challenge, which was awesome. And tonight we announce our next one in the next hour, so make sure you stick around for that. Of course, we like to start off the show doing some DX. So since we didn't have a challenge going on, you tell me where you want me to go. Let me know in the chat, what frequency would you like us to sit on and listen for DX. You want us to chase. Right now, all of our antennas are pointing south. We do have the mini whip, which is kind of omnidirectional at 45 feet or so, but we do have everything else pointing down to the south of us, south, southeast. So if you have something you want us to listen for, especially if it's like down Latin America way, let us know. We'll see if we can pick it up here, and we do our first DX of the evening here for this first hour. Rick says 1400. Okay, 1400 it is. That's where we'll start tonight. Of course, this first edition of DX is brought to you by the National Radio Club. NationalRadioClub.org is the website for more information about membership. Again, NationalRadioClub.org. And we want to thank them and all of our sponsors. We'll be mentioning them throughout the night tonight and making sure you guys are checking them out. They're all fantastic DX-related sponsors. So everything that we're talking about here, sponsor-wise, is directly involved in the hobby, which I love. Let's start off here on our one of our Kiwis. We have two Kiwis here, as most of you know here at DX Central. We have two. One is ours right behind me over here in the shack. This has 4 different antennas on it, and right now it's on the PA0 RDT mini whip, which is sitting in a tree at about 45 feet up in the air. And yes, it did survive the windstorm, so I guess it's not high enough, as the old adage says. We also have 3 different directional antennas. We have a 263 degree super loop, a 15 by 56 super loop we can use. We have a 22 by 72 foot CAS. Right now it's pointing about 195 degrees, so just a little bit west of south, down into Mexico. And then a 22 by 70 foot CAS, 125 degrees, so kind of looking more towards the southeast, towards the Caribbean, and into the eastern half of South America. So those are the 4 antennas that we have up on that particular Kiwi. The other Kiwi we have, it's kind of around the corner, and that is our shortwave central Kiwi, and that is paired up with a 25 by 72 foot CAS antenna that's elevated about 10 feet off the ground, and it's pointing at 150 degrees right at Columbia from here in Manville, Louisiana. So again, if you have some stuff that you would like to hear from our area down into Latin America per se, we can definitely check that out for you. So we're going to start off on 1400 as requested by our good friend Rick, and let's see what we have. We'll start off on the mini whip since it's nice and omnidirectional. Just checking up and getting caught up on the chat here. seeing what all you guys have been chatting about. It's been a while, right? We haven't had this opportunity to converse for a while. We're going to back the AGC threshold down a little bit here. Or I guess boost it a bit so we can try to reduce the rumble here on 1400. Barry would also like to try 1100 for Caracol or BBN. We'll do that. We'll swing around that way around the top of the hour. We do have two other SDRs here in addition to the two that we mentioned. We also have here with us our AirSpy HF Plus Discovery, and that one is sitting right now with the 125 degree CAS antenna, and so that's what you see here. And then we also have our Perseus, and I have to go down here and turn this on. There we go. We have our Perseus with the Jaguar software, and that one is running the other two, the Super Loop and or the 195 degree Super Loop. So we have those on our phaser switch over here. So quite a few different options for us, antenna and what was I going to say? Antenna and SDR wise. A couple of different options, give us some different looks to see what all is out there. So here we go. So you guys talking about Argentina, heard last night. Not really sure if that was who I heard last night. I was doing some tuning around and had WWL nulled here with the co-channel canceller and AirSpy SDR Sharp software, and had a bit of a fanfare station that seemed like it was Latin, but that could have been Ecuador, it could have been Colombia. Nothing really hard evidence to point towards Argentina, but it was entirely possible. But we're going to keep trying that one because I don't have Argentina on that freak. I think I just heard an ID. Yeah, I did. That was WJLD in Fairfield, Alabama. It just ID that has the country music. They looked that one up. The R something. I am rusty. I think that might have been WRZX in Noonan, Georgia, possibly. I'm on the wrong frequency on here. I wonder. Maybe. I'll have to go back and review what I heard here when I replay the stream back and see what we caught. And you know what time it is now, my friends?
DX Central Live top of the hour alert.
And so we now go back to our Kiwi, and let's swing down to 1100 now. So we did hear two stations there, WJLD and a tentative WRZX in Newnan, Georgia. So let's now swing over to 1100 kilohertz. Immediately we get a WTAM ID. But that is on our mini whip. So we're going to now swing this over to our southeast antenna. And you hear the difference. Once we put our AGC threshold back. And we have got ourselves a hit. Who that is? $1099.53. That's interesting. Anybody else seeing that one? I don't have it on any of my lists. Let me see if I'm seeing on any other antennas. No, that's probably an artifact on that end. Well, there's a little bit of it on that antenna. Here's the real test. Let's go back to the 125, mute that one, and let's go now to the shortwave central Kiwi that we have around the corner and see if that is seeing the same hit. No. I don't think so. So that's an artifact locally here. I just heard the Caracal fanfare. Instead, now we have this brace at about 1100.114. Ish. Yeah, 1100.1-ish. I'm not seeing anything on any list on that one either. Yeah, there you go, Jacob. I'm seeing the same one here. That 102-ish. Yeah, it's right here. 1100.103, 102, somewhere in there. I don't see that on any of my lists. Somebody with some nasty audio. Let's see if it gets any better if I widen it. Not really. Wonder who this is that we have with some nasty audio. There's a Radio Angulo there in Cuba. When I hear nasty audio like that, that's always my first thought is, do we have a Cuban? Because their transmitters are known for bad modulation. Don't hear him now. Could they have signed off? I suppose it would be possible. Yeah, that's a pretty strong trace there at 1100.1. That's really strong. Well, it's not as strong as it was. Still pretty decent, though. Dennis wants to know if there's a way to slow down the waterfall speed in SDR Sharp. There is. If you go to the display tab, which will bring up this little guy right here. And then down here, if you scroll down, you'll see your speed. I slowed it way down. I slow it way up, or speed it way up. I just keep it down about here-ish. But it's at the very bottom of the display tab. You'll see the speed slider. We're going to keep an eye on that one. I think we're going to keep an eye on that because that was some interesting distorted audio that was in there. And would like to see who that is. And then also see if we can figure out that 1100.1, who that hit might be. Let's take a quick timeout, a little quick break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking non-directional beacons on the long wave band. We're going to get to your shout-outs. We're going to talk about my recent trip to Washington, D.C., and some of the DX that I was able to do from there, from the hotel room, as we ended up getting stuck in a snowstorm, which was fun. And a couple other fun little topics, including some FM Tropo, some Gulf Tropo that came in this morning, and how I know that occurred since I completely forgot it was coming. And obviously some more great DX and our newest challenge announced. So don't go anywhere. We got tons to get to right here on DX Central Live.
DX Central, because we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
For more than 90 years, the National Radio Club has been at the forefront of providing DXers with the latest in station news, DX-related technical information, and reception reports from DXers around the world. The NRC's AM radio log, now in its 45th edition, is the most expansive and detailed resource of station information for U.S. and Canadian radio stations that is available in any format. The club's publication, the DX News, is available in both print and electronic format and provides the latest information on call letter and format changes, construction permits, and other information to help keep DXers informed of the latest updates they may hear on the air. For more information, visit their website at nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org. With a lifetime membership, the International Radio Club of America gives DXers incredible value by putting important station information right at your fingertips. The The club's e-publication, the DX Monitor, includes DXer loggings, station information updates, international loggings, and more. Other club publications include the IRCA Mexican Log, a must-have resource for any DXer that chases stations from Mexico, the TIS-HAR list, the IRCA slogan list, sunset sunrise maps, and DXer technical guides. The joint IRCA-NRC email reflector and groups.io group is a hub for real-time DX conditions, station news, and DX-related conversation. For more information, visit ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org. From long wave to satellites, medium wave through HF, ham radio to scanners. If you can DX it, the Spectrum Monitor has you covered. Editor and publisher Ken Reitz has assembled a who's who of radio writers to share their knowledge and expertise from a wide range of DX-related topics. Each month, the Spectrum Monitor's columnists dive into their specialties to give readers tips, tricks, the latest news and station updates, and more. The Spectrum Monitor also provides a monthly assortment of feature articles that give in-depth insight into the past, present, and future of DXing. You can get a full year of the Spectrum Monitor for only $24. Individual issues from the current year are available for $3 each. You can also purchase previous years of the Spectrum Monitor in their entirety for as low as $12. For more information, visit thespectrummonitor.com. That's thespectrummonitor.com.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
This man told me to tell you to watch DX Central Live with Lloyd Van Horn every Friday night. Is my Diet Coke in there?
From the DX Central North Shore Studios, this is DXC Live. Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
It's DX Central Live from the North Shore Studios here in Mandeville, Louisiana. Beautiful Mandeville. And we are talking DX, AM DX, FM DX, long wave DX, TV DX, weather DX if you do the NOAA weather radio stuff. So if you have some things that you've been hearing basically since last time we were here, which was February the 7th, you can share those. Let us know what you've been hearing. Go to dxchallenges.com/shoutout. Again, dxchallenges.com/shoutout. Now, you don't have to register to submit a shout out and let us know what you've been hearing so we can celebrate together with you. But I do recommend, if you're not already a registered user of the website, that you do so, because you'll be able to participate in our little fun challenges that we do. And we have a doozy coming up that we'll be announcing later on this hour. So you're definitely not going to want to miss that. So dxchallenges.com. Again, shout out banner is there. You can submit your shout outs, let us know what you've been hearing, and we'll be more than happy to share that with the rest of the class, and we'll celebrate together. But we also do say, hey, why don't you also register, because that way you can have fun with us and do all the cool stuff that we do when we do the challenges and stuff like that. So let's talk about, so I mentioned earlier, we kind of took a bit of a break on the medium wave side during our little hiatus that we had for Mardi Gras. Did a little bit. We'll talk about some of the stuff that we caught since last time we met, and we do our shout out stuff later on in the show, because there's some good stuff. Got some good stuff. But we kind of took mostly, a nice little break on the AM side, just to kind of recharge the batteries a bit, and mostly on the FM, kind of relying on auto loggers to kind of take care of stuff, which it did do, and we'll talk about that a bit later on in the next hour. But we did spend some time, because I had, a lot of you remember last year, a PA0 RDT mini whip. It was up in the air at 45 feet up in a tree, and it was crushing it. It was doing a really, really good job. I was hearing Manitoba for the first time on this thing, and like all kinds of other stuff. Somewhere late spring, early summer, we had a pretty nasty thunderstorm, and we had a lightning strike about less than 1,000 feet from the house. I mean, it was really, really close. It was definitely under a quarter of a mile, and it was about a quarter of a mile from the house. So it would have been about what 400 feet ish, 500 feet, somewhere in there. Anyway, so we lost that mini whip that we had, and I was talking with Ralph, PA0 RDT mini whip guy himself, PA0 RDT, right? Talking with Ralph, and kind of sharing what we were experiencing. He was like, "We've never had one get fried from lighting before." Well, after some testing, I was able to confirm the feed lines are fine, because I'm using the same feed lines right now that I was using back then. The indoor box was fine. The only thing that was a variable that was not working was whenever I would use the outdoor component. So it looks like that one got fried by that super close lightning strike. So had some new ones ordered. I actually have two now up in the air. One at 45 feet, one at 35 feet. Eventually the plan is to have both of those going through a RSP duo for phasing and things like that. We've tried it out a little bit and kind of tested it out a little bit, and it works pretty good. But I also want to take those mini whips and split one to an Air Spy and one to our Kiwi. The Kiwi is the one we're going to be looking at here today. This is the one that's at 45 feet. And with these mini whips, the higher you go, the better the gain is, right? So they're going to be able to pull in signals a little bit stronger than if it's lower at the ground. You want to get it as high as you possibly can and as far away from stuff as you possibly can, right? Away from houses, away from noise, away from electrical stuff, away from anything that might cause interference. You want it to be up and just as far up and as far away as you possibly can get it. And that's what we have at 45 feet in a tree in the back corner of the backyard, and it's crushing it. Well, one of the things these are known for is how good they perform on the low bands, medium wave included, but also long wave. Long wave DXers have long sworn by these little mini whip antennas. And I'm talking, I don't have one of the ones with me. I'll probably grab it for next hour and show you guys. I mean, it's no bigger than this. This little USB card reader that I have, it's no bigger than that. Lengthwise, like from here to here, right? This thing is tiny. And you connect a feed line to it, and there's an indoor box with it, but it works so good. So once I got it back up in the air, I was wanting to do some testing on it, and I was like, let me go down the long wave. I hadn't really done that with one of these yet. Let me just go see what it's doing on the long wave. So I had this thing plugged into my Kiwi in my antenna switch, and I decided, some of you remember, I think it was either the last episode or the one before that, we talked about NDB. We talked about long wave and how I'd been kind of toying around with it and kind of playing around with it a little bit, but I hadn't really done anything. I wasn't keeping a logbook. I wasn't like super serious about it. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Wow, I heard Baton Rouge. Well, it's Baton Rouge. I didn't think I had a shot really with what I was using at the time at hitting anything serious until I put the mini whip up, and then I was like, well, let's give this a shot and see what it can do, because people swear by it. And lo and behold, this thing is an absolute dynamo on long wave and medium wave too, but on long wave. So I put together my very first ever, I had never done one before, a non-directional beacon logbook. So this is my long wave logbook. I'd never kept one. I'd always kind of notated here and there, like what I'd been hearing. I was notating some stuff or reviewing some stuff I notated up in Brasstown. I'd heard some stuff in like Texas and one up in Chicago and I think one in Indiana, and then there was one down in the Bahamas at one time on 526. So over the years, I'd kind of notated I'd heard this and this and this and this, but never anything formal or official until now. So I started on February the 16th. I started just going through the band, basically from 200 kilohertz to about 400-ish, 420-ish, 426, somewhere in there. And then there's a little bit of a gap between there and about right around 515-ish up to about 520, 522, somewhere in there. So there's a two little portions of it that you kind of really, it's about 200 and some odd kilohertz worth of band space you're looking at. And let me show you what I've done since February 16th. Now, I have taken the last week or so off. So it's probably been about a good week and a half, 2 weeks since I did anything. But check this out. 93 beacons logged, 23 states. Our furthest reception is at 2,300 miles. That's a station, an NDB down in Ecuador, and 5 unique countries so far. That's just so far. And if you've been doing NDBs, a lot of folks know these are starting to disappear. Okay, so they're being decommissioned, they're being replaced by other technology and things like that. So a lot of these are starting to disappear. There used to be way more than there are now. So I could have gotten to 93 in like 2 days back in the day. But nowadays, it's a little bit, there's still a lot there, but there's less than there used to be. So if you're wanting to get in on this, you want to get on it now. Like start working on this now, because the summertime is coming, and once summertime gets here, it's really difficult to do this in DBDX. And I think by the time we get to next year, it's going to be just slim pickings as far as what's left. So start prepping now for it. Do what you can now, and then whatever is going to be available in the fall. So 5 countries, 23 states, 93 logs, 2,300 stations, 2,300 mile furthest reception. So Quebec has been heard, Ontario, and then look at the states. Alabama, very odd, just nowhere in there. And then here's the actual logbook itself, the spreadsheet of everything that I've heard here so far. Let's kind of look at the map. So here's the heat map by state. A lot, obviously, in Louisiana, but Georgia's been coming in a lot. Illinois, Nebraska's been pretty good from here, which was a kind of a surprise. New Mexico and Arizona have been heard from here, which was interesting. I was like, well, that's nice. I didn't expect to see that. South Dakota, Minnesota. And if you guys have been following along here on the channel, Minnesota has been my arch nemesis on medium wave. I have very little from Minnesota, and I feel like I should have more than I do. I've already heard 4 NDBs from Minnesota in just, a handful of days, like a week of DX. And then down here, we have our log by frequency, and then I have my list of all my air checks. So let's go through here some of the ones that I thought were kind of cool. So this is PAL, 365 kilohertz. This is the big one, the 2,300 mile catch that I have, which is right now my furthest. And I think there's a lot of folks have heard. I know Dennis has heard them. Other folks have heard them here. But this, for me, A, it's a Latin American station. You guys know how I am about that. B, it's my current mileage leader. So I was just tickled pink to hear. I never thought I'd hear Ecuador on long wave in NDB. So here is the actual air check of PAL in Palma, Ecuador. There you go. You can hear it. It's fun, man. It is a lot of fun chasing after these. I have to say, I never really thought that chasing NDBs would be as thrilling as it was. I mean, I know I'd always kind of noted, oh, well, that's kind of cool. There's a station there in, like I said, Indiana or Bahamas or whatever it was. But until I actually sat down and started diving into these, man, I wish I'd gotten onto this train earlier. Man, I wish I'd been doing this earlier. Here's Puerto Rico, 391 DDP. So, I mean, that was Puerto Rico. At one time, that was my mileage leader. There's also Trinidad and Tobago, TAB on 323 here. This one was actually very, very surprising. Let's see which one. Yeah, here we go. These two right here, actually, YXL, let's start with that one. YXL on 346 in Sioux Lookout, Ontario. This is 1,366 miles. If you look at this on the map, this is way up there. This is way up there. All right. So all kinds of stuff is out here. So let's do a little live DX. A, because I want to show you guys what I've learned since our last conversation where we kind of demoed this. And B, Sean just said he's hearing a station I've been chasing, and I have not been able to hear it yet, so we're going to go chase it right now. So we're going to go over here to our mini whip, and we're going to go to our DX Central Kiwi and our PA0 RDT mini whip. Let's go down here to 224 kilohertz. So when we say these are like, this is at 224, PAL in Ecuador was at 365. That's the carrier frequency, right? So that's the main frequency, but there's always, almost always, an offset from that frequency where you'll actually see the Morse code. It can vary where you'll see it. Some are around, 1,000-ish off. So you'll see about 1 kc up or 1 kc down or on both. You'll see it around 400 kc off or 400 hertz off. Either way. So, I mean, there's some different offsets you might see here. So let's go down here to 224 and see if BH in Birmingham, Alabama is coming in. I've been chasing these guys now for quite some time with no luck, but Sean says he's hearing them right now from where he is in Missouri. So let's go see if we can hear them. So 224 is our main carrier frequency. So I see a couple of traces. Here's one at 223, one at 224. Let's try the 225. Let's try the 225. Let's try that one. We're in CW right now. Now I use the wide CW. If I need to narrow that down and get really tight on it, I can go into the narrow CW, and every SDR program handles this differently. This is what I'm working off of right now on the Kiwi though. So let's go ahead and unmute. This is a 400 water, and I cannot hear them. I've been chasing these guys for weeks. Two, 2, 3. Let's see if this is it right here. We'll try to narrow the bandwidth here a little bit. I'm not hearing it, guys. I am not hearing that one here. I've been trying and trying and trying and trying to get BH for since the 16th with no luck. Rick says maybe 248 Mobile from our end. All right, let's just go try them out. I was convinced these were all off the air because I just had not seen, and I figured that I would have a shot at them, but I had not seen any of them. So 248, let's see what we have here at 249, 247. Let me try the 247 first. Nope. Nope. Let's try some of these other ones that we know for an example here to give you guys at least something to hear. So 365, that's PAL down here in Ecuador. This is the carrier frequency here. So I'd be looking at right here around 364 as an example. Probably a little early for them. We also, now I will say this, as good as this mini whip is, and it is super, super good, on this antenna, I do see it as prone to like images and things like that from a strong RF environment. Here's a great example. This is 360 kilohertz. You see a big, nice, wide signal here. So if I open this up, you'll see.
On a man in Colorado, I just watching him. I think the change of direction, the anticipation ball skills. I think
just ran, and it's not even just strong local stuff. It's sometimes it's at night. It's stuff from elsewhere, right? It's DX down on the long wave portion of the band that's just kind of like shows up with some images and spurs that are there. So one of those things that does pop up sometimes on this mini whip, I will say that, but it far outweighs those issues when you look and see what it can actually do for you. Like for instance, what do we have here at 367? I'm guessing this is probably our EZM here in Eastman, Georgia. Yep. That's Georgia right there, Eastman. Let's see if I can zoom around here on the NDB portion of the band here and see if we see anything else that's kind of sticking out. So this is what I usually do. I'll start off like, let's just say around 200 KC. And I'll mute it until I need it. And I'm just looking to see if I see anything really popping up. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm looking at basically anything from 400 hertz, 1, 2, 3, 4, any from like right in here, up to here, right? Up to the 1 KC off. From 400 hertz or 1 KC off, I'm looking for dits and das. I'm looking for a non-consecutive line. Now, some of the Canadian ones they'll send the Morse code and then they do a long tone, and then they'll start sending the Morse code again and then a long tone. So you'll see that sometimes on the Canadians, and they're usually around the 400 hertz area. But like if it's just a long continuous tone like that, that is not a Morse code signal. So I'm looking for something other than a long continuous tone nonstop. So I just kind of sit here and I just scoot along the band, and I'm looking to see for any Morse code, identifiable Morse code that I might be able to see in here. We're about to get to one here in a minute, when we get closer to our local one here in Hammond. And here it is right here. So I'll just go ahead and pull that one up. This is HP. And what you see right here, this one right here is also HHP. This is a little image of that down here on 210. The carrier frequency of it is 212 right here. But then we have this one on 211, and then there's a little ghost image of it over here on just past 210. It's also going to sit here at 213. And then another little ghost image of it right here at 214. So some of the things you just kind of learn as you learn the band. Just like with any other DX, you have to learn the band. You're going to be better at it the more time you have behind the dials, listening and observing and getting to know what is typical and what is not typical. So just like with any, AM, FM, shortwave, amateur radio, any bands you're DXing off of, it's about knowing your band and knowing what is normal and what's not, and being able to spot that very quickly. That's how you get the new stuff. So this looks like there might be some breaks in there, but that seems like that's pretty tight. So let's just to be sure, we'll give it a listen to see what we hear. Yeah, Stephanie, that I've seen several of those that are listed as decommissioned. There was it Bill Hepburn calls them zombie NDBs. They come back from the dead. They've been reported as off, but they mysteriously just start coming back up every once in a while, which is interesting. I have a I have a feeling when it's all said and done, these are probably more useful than people are giving them credit for, so we might not see them go away completely. I just have a feeling, because all it takes is one solar flare and all that fancy satellite stuff is gone. All your sat nav that you have for your airplanes is gone, and now you have to rely on things like old school technology NDBs to make sure that you have a way to find your path along your flight path. So I have a feeling at some point someone's going to realize we probably need to have a backup. Make sure this is still available for us to do something with. Just my own personal. Maybe that's my desire more than my actual gut feeling, but that's what I'm hoping for. So nothing in here really so far that I've seen. And sometimes you'll get in here if you like zoom way in, you'll see sometimes a Morse code signal right up against the carrier. And so the carrier might be over here, like, let's say this is what, 230. The carrier might be at 229 or at 231. And so that 1 KC offset, now you got Morse code sitting right next to a carrier on 230. That happens. That absolutely happens. It makes it really tough to pull them out and makes it really, really tough to figure out who it is. But it does happen from time to time. Let's see here. That's where the tighter your bandwidth can be on those, that helps out with those quite a bit. That's why I'll a lot of times be switching over here to the narrow CW here on the Kiwi, because that will help with that stuff. Let me go back up here where I was. Yeah, not a lot here tonight in the twos. Man, some nights I'll come through here and it's just full, but not a lot tonight. The threes are where I see most of the activity. I don't see a ton in the twos. The 300 KC area is where I see most of the action. And the high end of the twos. So we're starting to see some in here that might be some Morse code, like right here on 248. Let's take a gander at that. Maybe not. It's not repeating. See if anything is there. We see one of those Spurs images I was talking about earlier, which can make it kind of challenging sometimes on some freaks to get anything. How are we looking on time? 35? Okay. At least we'd like to find one DX station here in this search. And there are several different resources you can use. Here is one of them. This is Bill Hepburn's NDB list. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I also know quite a few folks that swear by ClassX, and that is here. So those are the two I think that most people are using. You can also use medium wave list. In fact, a lot of what you'll see on the ClassX site, those notes also show up in the notes on the medium wave list site. So yes, you can use medium wave list for NDBs, and I have done that, and it's really nice to be able to go back in. For instance, I'm still in my other location here. I'll show you the example of what we have though. If I go to 365, just type in the frequency you want, and there's your list. right? There's your list of what's available. And down here, there's PAL, Ecuador, Palma. And you'll see little notes like right here of kind of, you know, if it's like a 400 hertz or 1,000 hertz, you'll see those listed here. And it gives you, the cool thing is, once you set your location up, it gives you your mileage and your bearing and all that kind of stuff from the station. So it makes it easy, super easy. That's how I knew it was 2337 for me in Mandeville. It says 2823 because this is another location I'm working off of for my DC recordings. But yeah, you'll see in here, it gives you the mileage and the bearing and all the station stuff, just like you would on the others. And you can log it and you can map it. You can map it. As an example, if I go over here and change my location, which here's how you do that. Where it says receiver location, I just click on that. And then once that's in here, I can create a brand new one. Sean, this is what you were asking about. I can create a brand new location right here. Or I can just switch. If I've already created one, I can switch to it. And that's where I would come back over here. And I've got my North Shore location here. And if I go to my logbook, my visual logbook, I want to go to 217 here. Select band. I'm going to select long wave. This should be mostly my stuff because I think I'm the only one who was doing this. Show complete logbook. There we go. So this is a map of everything I've heard so far on long wave. Right there in medium wave list. That is the way to do it. And like I said, I'm filtering my map here by the band. So I'm just filtering down just to see my long wave stuff. 88 logs I've submitted here on medium wave list. You'll see, again, this one here, this is the one I was talking about up here in, well, there's the Quebec one. It's way up there. And this is the Sioux Lookout way up here as well. So yeah, these are kind of up there a bit. In my opinion, they're way up there. For me, that's like, whoa, that's practically Arctic. I know it's not, but, you know, bear with me. So yeah, there you go. That's how I do my NDB search, is I use a combination of Bill Hepburn, Class Axe, and medium wave list. I log it on medium wave list. I also log it in my own logbook for my own purposes, and it's a lot of fun. So if you're looking for a challenge, if you're looking for a change of pace, NDBs, man, NDBs are great. And those mini whip antennas, I cannot say enough how great they are. All right, let's do some shout outs, because I know you guys have quite a bit you've been hearing, and I want to make sure we have a chance to get to all these. So it is now shout out time.
Shout out loud, hear the call for every single big or small, from AM to FM, from C to C. We celebrate the ones who snag the IT. Shout out loud, let it be known, you're never DXing all alone. Through the static we found our way. Shout outs making waves today.
All right, let's get to some shout outs. Got a lot of these to get to, and we do have a new challenge to announce here in a bit before we get to our next top of the hour. So want to make sure we have plenty of time for those. Let's start off here our look at the shout outs. Let me zoom in a bit to make this easier for me to read. With our good friend Rick Dow in Nebraska. Let's see, Rick spent Wednesday, the 26th of February to Sunday, March 1st at my parents' farm west of Oakland, Iowa, roughly 20 miles to the east of Omaha. Sat on the graveyard frequencies most of the time, got a bunch of relogs, but also managed to snag 4 stations that were new to Oakland's logbook. KZNG 1340 Hot Springs, Arkansas. Nice. KGIW 1450 Alamosa, Colorado. KREF 1400 in Norman, Oklahoma. And 1400 KEYL in Long Prairie, Minnesota. All of these were heard on an AirSpy HF Plus Discovery SDR paired with the SDR, or the W6 LVP loop. So good job, my friend. Spending some times in the graveyard is always fun. Yeah. Did I accidentally leave that one? Yeah, it is. Didn't get any state there. My bad. I fat fingered that one. Well done, my friend. Always love getting in the graveyard and getting new stuff. Our next shout out here is from our friend Stephanie. Stephanie down in Palm Desert in SoCal. Finally started to work Trans-Pacific splits, and as I posted on the Slack channel, I was able to snag this one and hopefully a few more as I review my recordings. 747 JOIB in HK Radio 2 in Japan, loud at times with the program Business English for Global Competence. Listening on the NHK Radio 2 website confirmed the program in time, listed at 500 kilowatts. 4,321 miles from the hacienda. That's a new country, new log, and a new distance record. So we start with the old passport stamp. So we got to find ourselves a chance to stamp the old passport here, find a little empty spot. A lot of traveling that Stephanie's been doing here. There you go, empty spot, and boom, Japan. Nicely done. And that's a new log. So, I mean, we're going to do that too. And there was a new milestone. New distance record for Stephanie. My friend, congratulations. And I just want to remind folks, for the record, that is a magnetic loop on a balcony in SDR that did that. Just saying. Doesn't have to be fancy. I mean, a lot of us work on our antennas because we are chasing specific things. We're chasing after specific areas. So we do things like bogs and chasms and super loops, and that's fine, right? That's great. But don't get discouraged if you don't have access to be able to do that kind of stuff. And we're going to talk about that in the next hour with my trip I did to DC. It was illuminating. It was illuminating to me how much DX could be found. Now, I've been doing road trip DX recordings, 5 years now? 4 years? Sitting in a hotel room with a magnetic loop and an SDR and just hit record and walk away and let it do its thing or go to bed or whatever in a hotel room in an urban area. I've been doing that now for about 4 or 5 years. And even still, with the setup I did in DC, I was shocked at how much was there. It was an eye-opener. We're going to talk about that in the next hour. Jerry Hart, you're up next, my friend, with new logs. 2025, February 20th, 309 Zulu, 610 WTEL in Philadelphia, Black Information Network, new log. 402 Zulu, 610 WTV in Columbus, Ohio, new log there. And local CKTB St. Catharines, Ontario was off the air. I live about 3 blocks from the Canadian border, so gave him a chance to get some new stuff. Well, there you go, man. Nicely done, Sean. Those locations, you can set up as many of those locations as you want to. I do one for every one of my road trips that we do. You can set up one that's specific for long wave, one for medium wave, one for whatever. You can do that however you want to break that up to make it easier for you to get to those logs. And then you can map it. You can do whatever you want with it. It's really, really cool. Well done, Jerry, my friend. Some new ones there with the local off the air. Let's see, we've got several more to get to here. All right. David Harden in Georgia says, I'm working on finding a station on every AM frequency. Good strategy, man. That is one of the quickest ways to fill your logbook, is targeting starting with 1 on every frequency and then expanding from there to 2 and 3 and 4 on every frequency. Quick way to fill your logbook. Working on finding a new station on every AM frequency. I tuned to 850, expecting to hear a domestic station. Instead, I heard STS Radio Universidad. I knew it was XECPAF in Mexico, New Mexican State for me. My second, staying on that frequency, I heard WJXC, Birmingham, Alabama, and then WTFL, West Palm Beach, Florida. 1490 was my next challenge. Heard a faint signal and listened over a span of 3 days, hoping to get a call sign. Heard the slogan, the Singing News Network, but no top of hour ID. I found the IRCA slogan list and found out my station was WSNT in Sandersville, Georgia, about 70 miles from me, but it still counts as a new frequency heard. Yes, it does. I also had a hard time pulling out a station on 1560. I narrowed it down to a few stations, but heard a gospel country song. One of these was WYZD. I confirmed this when I heard the same song on their online website. 1430 is the last medium wave frequency to go before I have heard at least one on every single medium wave frequency. Boom. That's the way to do it, man. It's a methodical approach. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And, oops, nope, that's a Mexican state, so we got to do this the right way for our friend David here. All right, there you go. Well done, David. We've got shout outs coming up in this next hour from John Johnson, David Pete, Stewart in here. Dennis is in, Sean Kutsko, Carl, and we got another one here for Stephanie. I got to make a correction here for you. My bad. I just saw this. It was below the other one, so I'll get that corrected for you. So yes, we got those coming up here the next hour. But it is time for us to announce our new frequency challenge. So reminder, because it's been a while, we typically do a frequency range like 800 to 850 or whatever, and everyone DXs that little portion of the band and just blitzes it like crazy. After the first of the year, we moved to themes because we've already done every single frequency like 3 or 4 times, so or twice I think. So now we're doing themes. So we've been doing like the 1,000+ mile challenge, the country challenge, all this other kind of stuff. So we continue with our new theme-based approach with this week's new challenge, and it's gonna be fun, y'all. All right, it's the spring equinox challenge. What does that mean? We're doing gray line, baby. Sunrise, sunset, an hour before, an hour after. That's it. That's our window. An hour before sunrise to an hour after sunrise. An hour before sunset to an hour after sunset. That's it. That's our windows, okay? I thought about shrinking it down a little bit tighter. I thought about expanding it out a little bit. I thought the 1 hour was a nice mid-ground. Will there be stuff in there that's like nighttime stuff? Yeah, there's going to be some like super skywave stuff. But the point of this challenge is 2 things. Number 1, tonight into tomorrow, so we have sunrise in the morning and sunset tomorrow night. You got 2 windows here under standard time. We go to this daylight savings time on Sunday, right? So you've got tomorrow morning sunrise and you got tomorrow night sunset to hit this before we get the hour change, right? To a later sunset. So there's that. And the other side of this is that towards the end of this challenge, we're going to be at spring equinox. What does that mean? That means the terminator between night and day is almost perfectly vertical. Okay? That gives you a look of DX you're not going to see any other time of the year. Even when there's the fall equinox and it's still this way, it's a whole different look because the timing's all different, right? This is going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be so much fun. So you're looking for stations 1 hour before local sunrise to 1 hour after, 1 hour before local sunset to 1 hour after. Okay. Again, I know there's going to be some skywave stuff that you would hear during the nighttime, right? So I'll be sitting here in Mandeville and it'll be like right around sunset and I'll be getting WBT in Charlotte or KFAB in Omaha. I know, right? Skywave is going to be there. The point of this, though, is to give us a chance to look at these frequencies, during this gray line period, gray lines are awesome. You hear stuff you wouldn't hear any other time of the day. But in these next 2 weeks specifically, this is prime time gray line enhancement period. I've been planning this when I was like, I've got to do gray line for the equinox and daylight savings starting. I've got to do gray line for that. So this was like set in stone from the moment I decided to do these theme-based challenges. This is what we're going to do. Okay. So, the daylight savings time doesn't change anything necessarily other than it's darker. It's turns darker later. So it changes your level of, delayer absorption or decay for the same time in the standard time, right? So right now at 6 o'clock, around 6 o'clock, it's sunset here in Mandeville. That's about to be 7. So 6 o'clock is more now in that window of like gray liney, like starting to get gray line and getting a little bit more of a build up and a tear down of the stuff. So it's going to be just a little bit different look after daylight savings starts on Sunday. It's going to be a little bit different look because that same hour now, it may not change anything from like a station, like what time they change their power and stuff like that, because that is calculated based on the middle of the month. It may not change that very much, but it's definitely going to change the conditions of the ionosphere because now that hour is going to be in a different spot and it's going to be so nice. All right. All right. Let's take a look here at, we are now past our sunset, way past our sunset here in Mandeville. So when we'll be doing some DXing over the next hour or so, we're going to be looking back in our normal stuff. So you guys, again, tell me what you want to listen for, where you want me to go tune to, and I'm more than happy to do that for you. We'll go see what DX we can hear. We were on 1100 earlier. I guess we can resume there. And you guys can let me know if there's anything else you want me to try for. Let's go back to 1100. Oops. And we'll start our next DX session. Now, this DX session is brought to you by the International Radio Club of America, IRCAonline.org. So let's go take this to 1100. Let's go back to our SAS.
Mitchell on the right side against Baugh. Mitchell now draws the line.
All right.
Switch comes down the lane. Finger roll. Missed it. Ball taps out front to Miles Bridges.
So we are on the mini whips. We've got a lot of WTAM. Let's go back now. Watch what happens when we turn on that directional antenna. Okay, I've got that hit again here on my local. So let me go back over here now on the shortwave central Kiwi and see what we have here on 1100. ZBVI. Good call. Let's try them here at 780. There's Caracol. Now we're getting into more of a nighttime mode, so Caracol's coming in a bit better. So we'll switch that up here at the top of the hour. What this is also going to be an opportunity for folks to do is Stephanie kind of alluded to in the chat there, chasing after that's Caracol Radio. Here's their fanfare again.
Caracol Radio Barranquilla, 97.6 FM, HJH26 y 1100 AM, HJAT. Caracol Radio, más compañía. Estás escuchando Caracol Radio Barranquilla, 97.6 FM, 1100 AM. Hernández, es Caracol Radio.
That sticks out, doesn't it? Let's go ahead and switch back to 780. Now we got those nice big IDs out of them there. We'll also put our southeast antenna on the other Kiwi on 780 here. So that's weird. Now I've got the same thing right here below 780. I've got one on 779. I wonder if that's happening on other frequencies here. No. No. Doesn't look like it. Okay, so it's not every frequency, thank goodness. It is that time, though.
DX Central Live, top of the hour alert.
Top of the hour means we are looking for IDs. You just heard a plethora of them from Caracol Radio on 1100. Now we go searching on 780. I would probably do better here on this one. May have to do that, Mike. Actually, that's a really good idea. See if we have anything. I don't hear anything that might indicate BVI is coming in. Radio Viva. Radio Viva Pasto. Always, they're pretty much every night now at this point down here, especially if we have the antenna pointing down south. They're a nightly visitor.
Texas County, right next to the border with New Mexico. CBS's Omar Villafranca has more.
Yeah, no sign of him here, man.
In far west Texas, and
They're a tough sled.
until this year.
Officials believe that a Ford station wagon pulled out of the flood of the river to belong to a Morgan family who disappeared while on a trip 66 years ago to collect Christmas greenery. The vehicle came apart in the retrieval. It was found last fall by a diver who had been looking for it for 7 years. President Trump holds the first radio conference summit at the White House. CBS station Live reports what's making the U.S. the world leader with the signed an executive order yesterday.
Saw a mention of a new Colombian for David up on we're down on 620. So let's just go take a look at 620 and see what we have here besides Rebeldy and XE and K. Is that Cartagena that you had, David? HJVP?
Solo te voy a poner ejemplo que con ese susto
Yeah.
eres la metáfora de dos hijos que uno dice ve a trabajar al campo, dijo no voy, pero luego fue, y otro que dice sí ya voy, pero no fue. O sea, hay dos hijos.
Take a look here at the Bonaire Kiwi. See what Bonaire is hearing. Oh, it's prime time for Bonaire here. So we'll wait our turn, and when that comes available, we'll see what they're receiving down that way. I feel like that tweet sound, I think I hear that a lot on Mexican stations. It's been a minute. I'm a little rusty. Is it stations in Mexico that do that tweet sound quite a bit? Yeah, they were not coming in tonight. BVI wasn't. Tampa's in there with the sports. That's very possible, Mike. That's what I was thinking it might be. I know one of these is probably XE and K. Tell you what we can do while we wait for the Kiwi down in Bonaire is we can go over here and look at some of the ones down y'all's way. Let's take a look at who's available. Start with this one. Oops. So that's XE and K right there. And I hear him in there. And there's a Rebeldy outlet here on 620 as well. And that's what Rebeldy's carrying right now. We have another Spanish station here on 1180, by the way. Let's stop here for a second. I wonder if this is Marathon. So there's a rumble of stations underneath. That's Rebeldy. There's one here on top that I'm hearing on 1180. A different voice. So again, here is Rebeldy. This one on top, that's a different station. So either one of the Rebeldy outlets is switched to a different network, or we may have Marathon here. Or it could be XEFR. Let's take a look and see. Nope. That is not XEFR. So that's either one of the Cuban outlets running a different network, Marathon and VOA, Radio Marti, or something else. There is a caracol down here, though, I've heard before. Don't think it's them. Interesting. Very interesting. There is an echo on that.
Estará formando parte del banco de locutores con que cuenta Radio Rebelde.
It's not Progreso.
Todos los cubanos a Idiel Pérez en San
Los tiempos cambian imágenes y figuras. Aquella ejemplo. Levantar, escoger manos, esperar, cuidar de los niños perdidos. Años después, milicia, maestra, ingeniera, deportista,
Yeah, I don't think that's XEFR. I was checking. I was checking a Kiwi down there, and it's a different program. If I have to guess, my guess is it's a couple of the Rebeldy outlets running a different network. Because we don't get VOA Marathon Key that loud up here. Heard them like once. It could be running like Maya Bouquet, any number of different networks, and there's a little bit of an echo on it, so that leads credence to that there may be a bit of an echo because there's multiple outlets running it. right, we're going to keep chasing this one. I don't want to derail things because we got some more stuff to get to here. So we'll keep chasing this one tonight and see if we can pull out who that is here. So, oops. Yeah. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we've got some FM stuff to talk about. We've got a little bit to talk about around FM in general. And we also need to talk about my DC trip and what we're finding there. So don't go anywhere, my friends. More DX Central Live is heading your way right after this.
DX Central, because we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. DX Central Live is brought to you in part by...
With a lifetime membership, the International Radio Club of America gives DXers incredible value by putting important station information right at your fingertips. The club's e-publication, the DX Monitor, includes DXer loggings, station information updates, international loggings, and more. Other club publications include the IRCA Mexican Log, a must-have resource for any DXer that chases stations from Mexico, the TIS-HAR list, the IRCA slogan list, sunset sunrise maps, and DXer technical guides. The joint IRCA-NRC email reflector and groups.io group is a hub for real-time DX conditions, station news, and DX-related conversation. For more information, visit ircaonline.org. That's ircaonline.org. From long wave to satellites, medium wave through HF, ham radio to scanners. If you can DX it, the Spectrum Monitor has you covered. Editor and publisher Ken Reitz has assembled a who's who of radio writers to share their knowledge and expertise from a wide range of DX-related topics. Each month, the Spectrum Monitor's columnists dive into their specialties to give readers tips, tricks, the latest news and station updates, and more. The Spectrum Monitor also provides a monthly assortment of feature articles that give in-depth insight into the past, present, and future of DXing. You can get a full year of the Spectrum Monitor for only $24. Individual issues from the current year are available for $3 each. You can also purchase previous years of the Spectrum Monitor in their entirety for as low as $12. For more information, visit thespectrummonitor.com. That's thespectrummonitor.com. For more than 90 years, the National Radio Club has been at the forefront of providing DXers with the latest in station news, DX-related technical information, and reception reports from DXers around the world. The NRC's AM radio log, now in its 45th edition, is the most expansive and detailed resource of station information for U.S. and Canadian radio stations that is available in any format. The club's publication, the DX News, is available in both print and electronic format and provides the latest information on call letter and format changes, construction permits, and other information to help keep DXers informed of the latest updates they may hear on the air. For more information, visit their website at nationalradioclub.org. That's nationalradioclub.org.
Through crashes of static in quiet hours, we listen. In languages we can scarcely understand, and of places we have only visited in our dreams, we listen. Incessantly, we perfect our array of aerials, receivers, and resources. We refine our skills and our techniques so that we might listen. We are DX Central, and we're all about radio. Visit us at dxcentralonline.com or check us out on YouTube. Search DX Central. Keep up with DX Central. Follow us on Twitter at DX Central.
This man told me to tell you to watch DX Central Live with Lloyd Van Horn every Friday night. Can you help me out of this chair now?
DX Central North Shore Studios, this is DXC Live. Now here's your host, Lloyd Van Horn.
DX Central Live from the North Shore Studios here in beautiful Mandeville, Louisiana. Every Friday night at 18:45 Central Time, which is about to be 23:45 UTC again. Don't forget to adjust. I'll tell you where there wasn't empty frequencies. That was in Washington, D.C. So some of you in the Slack channel may have seen posting about my recent day job trip to D.C. It was the day after the Super Bowl here in New Orleans, flying up to D.C., which was a whole circus in and of itself. That was not fun. The airport was crazy. And then while I was there in D.C. for this conference, a snowstorm hit, so it stranded me there for an extra day. And luckily, I was able to get a hotel, so I wasn't sleeping at the airport or anything. And it also gave me a chance to do some DX. So the first night I was there, I was in this hotel that was kind of the rooms were inside this like big complex, right? It's a big convention center, and the rooms that were adjacent to the convention center were kind of inside. So it was almost like trying to shop from inside of a shopping mall, right? Didn't go very well. I mean, it was pretty noisy. It was super, super noisy. I think I may have had some connectivity issues on my antenna, considering it was like 2 o'clock in the morning when I was trying to do this, and I was half asleep, and I'd been sitting in the airport all day. So I'm pretty sure I goofed something in there. So the next night, when I was stranded there because of the snow, I was at a hotel across the street, which had more of like a traditional hotel setup. It was like a Hampton Inn. And so for this one, I had brought with me my AirSpy HF Plus Discovery SDR. This little guy right here, right? A lot of you guys are familiar with. And I had also brought with me my AirSpy U-Loop. It's like a $40 antenna on airspy.com. Or I think it might actually be less than that. And I typically, when I would travel, I would bring my W6 LVP loop, which is a powered loop antenna. Okay. Yeah, it was in National Harbor. Yeah. Right there at the Gaylord Convention Center is where the first night. And then the second night at the Hampton Inn right across the street. So that's where I was at. So I usually bring my portable version of the W6 LVP. It's an active loop antenna. It's kind of compact, but you have to have a stand for it, and it's all this PVC. And so I was trying not to attract attention with TSA because sometimes they don't like the PVC, and I figured the day after the Super Bowl was probably not a good time, and also flying into DC, probably not a good place to have a lot of PVC in your luggage. So I went minimal with what I had. So I had two small pieces of PVC, one that just kind of locked into the other, and then I had this U-Loop antenna. And then I brought some electrical tape with me, which is now going to be with me on every single one of these trips from now on. So what I basically did is I used the PVC to kind of give me a support from the top to the bottom of the antenna, and then I just kind of fluffed out the sides into as much of a circle shape as I could possibly get, and that gave me my loop shape. And for the actual use of the loop, what I did was I for part of it, I taped it to my window in my hotel room. I just taped it up using some electrical tape. I taped it up to the window, literally just bloop, bloop. And then later on, I that was facing like I think northwest southeast, and then later on I flipped it and rotated the antenna to northeast southwest. And for that one, I had the little PVC mast. It was on top of an ottoman, and I pushed it up against the curtain and the window and kind of let it kind of lean against that a little bit. And then I put that inside of one of my tennis shoes. And then to keep the antenna from falling this way, I just took the other shoe and kind of propped it up like this, kind of let it lean like that. So it just kind of sat like this up against it was up against the window. You would not believe. So I've completed 4 recordings. I did a 11 o'clock, a midnight, a 1 o'clock, and a 2 o'clock. Those are the 4 top of the hour recordings that I've done. Now I'm going to have a full write-up on all this and Spectrum Monitor coming up here soon. I did 4 recordings. I've completed the 11, 12, and 2. Okay. The 11 o'clock and the 2 o'clock were the bottom half of the band from like 5:30 to 12:50. Okay. And then the the 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock were the upper half of the band, from like 990-ish, 980-ish to the top to 1700. And so I've completed 3 of the 4 recordings. I'm on my last recording of the top half of the band right now. It's the 1 a.m. Eastern time recording. Okay. I'm being a little more methodical on that one because there's some specific stuff I'm still looking for, but I'm almost to 200 stations logged. Every single frequency has a station logged. Every frequency. Okay. Now, I'm in a very RF heavy environment. I'm in a hotel room in the DC area, right? And I'm using a U-loop, a passive magnetic loop antenna that's just a couple pieces of wire plugged into my SDR. The co-channel canceller was brilliant for this trip and the recording review that I'm doing. It has yielded quite a bit of nice stuff. I have every state east of the Mississippi River except for Maine, and that's it. Maine. Every state east of the Mississippi heard so far except for Maine, and I'm hopeful they'll be there in this last recording. Almost 200 stations. Every single frequency from 530 to 1700 has at least one station log, at least one, and many of them have like 2 or 3 or 4. So am I happy about that? Oh yeah. So this is going to be the article that I'm going to write for Spectrum Monster is really going to be kind of talking about how in this day and age there's no excuse of like when I was in an apartment, it was like, well, I'm in an apartment, I can't really do much with that, right? Nowadays, yeah, you can get a magnetic loop, which is super resistant to noise anyway, and even what noise you do have, you can turn it and try to get rid of it. Is it going to be perfect? No, it's not going to be perfect. There's going to be stuff that you can't hear on that antenna that you can hear on a beverage or a bog or something like that. There's also going to be stuff you can hear on that antenna that I can't hear on my Kazas, right? When I first moved here to Mandeville, I had a W6 LVP loop up in the air, and I logged 300 stations in 1 week or 2 weeks or whatever it was. And that was stations in California and Alberta and like all over the place. I heard WTIC in Hartford that week, just all kinds of stuff. And there are stations that I have yet to hear again on any other antenna that I have, except for that week in October on that loop antenna. So they can hear DX really, really well. Okay. Magnetic loops are nothing to sneeze at. So if you find yourself in a compromised situation, like I can't put up an antenna that I want to put up out in the backyard, a U-loop can do the trick. A passive U-loop. You'll want to pair that with an AirSpy HF Plus Discovery because it needs that high dynamic range. If it doesn't, then you're not going to plug that into a portable and expect the same results. It's just not going to do it. It's taking advantage of the high dynamic range of the AirSpy. Now, were the signal levels super, super strong? Not huge, especially the one that was more northwest southeast that was taped up to the window. Those were a little weaker. The northeast southwest that was more this way, those were much stronger signals. They still maybe weren't as good as what I have right now on my big antennas, but they were there, and the noise was super low, super, super quiet. Being in a hotel, I was shocked. So this is all to say, again, I'll have my full report in Spectrum Monitor, but I'm finishing up my recording reviews and then I'll do my analysis of it. But I'll give you guys a sneak peek here that this U-loop AirSpy combo, that's my go-to now for all my portable DX that I do on these day job trips or vacations or whatever, where I go do AirSpy recordings of the band for my air checks for my YouTube channel. From now on, I'm bringing the U-loop and an AirSpy. That's it. And it's a super compact little bitty package. And it works really, really, really well. I'm surprised, but also not surprised. Okay, so definitely, if you are looking for a great portable radio, or if you haven't gone into the SDR world yet, or you're kind of trickling in, or you're trying to find a good antenna solution, don't dismiss the U-loop. It is a fantastic antenna. Okay. So be on the lookout for that coming up in a future edition of the Spectrum Monitor once I get all that written up and analyzed. The next thing I want to talk about here real quick is FMDX, because we are now in March. Now is the time to start thinking about doing some FMDX preparation. I'm talking about it's time to do your band scans, folks. It's time to go through and go from the bottom end to the high end of the band on your local FM band and refamiliarize yourself. There may be some stations that are now gone. There may be some stations that are moved. There may be some stations that are brand new that weren't there before, and now there they are. You want to refamiliarize yourself with the band, so complete that band scan. There may be some HD stations that weren't HD before and are now, or vice versa, right? So there's all kinds of things that could have changed since last we did in-depth FMDXing. So now is the time of the year to do that. March is one of the more dead periods of FMDX for most DXers. I say most in heavy italics here because we're about to talk about a DX event that happened here this morning. But for most DXers, March is pretty dead. So dead band conditions are the perfect time to do a band scan. So just go through and give yourself a spreadsheet with every frequency from 88.1 up to 107.9 and notate what you hear, right? If it's hash from an HD signal, notate that. I categorize my frequencies that way. I say open local HD or local station or semi-local or open, or fringe or whatever it might be. I have different categories I use for my frequencies here. And I just categorize them and I notate what I heard. And I notate if there's an RDS, if it's HD, what's the RDS code if there is RDS, what format is it, what's their slogan. I try to get as much details in there as I possibly can about what I'm hearing on that band scan so that I can familiarize myself. And when I'm doing a DX event, there's like an E-skip opening or Tropo, whatever it is. If I want to know, is that regular? Is this what I'm hearing right now? Could that be one of my stations? Could that be DX? What am I hearing? You should know pretty well if you do one of these band scans and familiarize yourself with the band. So definitely spend some time doing that. We're going to be doing a lot more FMDX talk from here. So we got 8 episodes left after tonight for the rest of the season, and we're going to be hitting FM pretty hard in some of these episodes. We have some stuff planned that I think you guys are really going to like as we get a little bit closer to the really like deep FM season. So FMDXers, stand by. This is about to get real fun. We're going to be doing a lot of FM stuff. But now is the time, even if you're an established FMDXer that does it every year, you need to go back in. I'm about to do mine here once we have some of this Tropo stuff clear out we've been getting. I'm going to be going and doing my band scan here in the local area and just double checking and making sure that everything that I think I know is really still the case. Okay. Speaking of Tropo, let's take a look. So I've been looking at the Tropo forecast. This is about the time of the year where I look at it all year long, but I really start looking at it here in March here in the Gulf states. And I noticed there was a Tropo event that was supposed to be occurring here in the Gulf, starting last night, around midnight last night through this morning. And I'd fully planned on doing something with it, and then I got busy and forgot. Well, my autologger didn't forget. My autologger caught some really cool stuff. We'll look at it here in a second. But this is just a really quick look at Bill Hepburn's Tropo forecast. So if you are not familiar with Bill's forecast, but there is the website. You need to familiarize yourself with this one. This is going to tell you and show you some different areas where Tropo may be occurring. So you see down here in the Gulf, all this stuff down here. Yeah, Tropo enhancement is happening down here in the Gulf of Mexico. Is it making it inland? We'll take a look at here in a little bit. But you'll see here the forecast for the next couple of days. That's going to start to clear out. Then we have some nice stuff building back over here into Texas. That's going to start to kind of permeate its way this way. It's some stuff down here in Florida as well. Up around my way, it's not super great. We're going to be kind of clearing out. Look at this. We got big white down here around the Mexican-Texas border. That's nice. That's going to be some nice, strong Tropo down there. This also, by the way, is not just FM. This also is weather DX. This is NOAA weather radios. If you're up there in the 162 megahertz band chasing after these NOAA weather radio stations, DXing those, my friends, you're going to want to pay attention to the Tropo forecast because Tropo impacts those before it does FM. You're going to know about it on NOAA weather radio before you ever even see it on FM. Okay. This front's going to come through and clear it out. And then we have something kind of developing here on the back end of it, starting probably Tuesday-ish. Looks like there might be a couple of pathways opening up. My favorite pathway, I feel like I've DX'd the Texas pathway along the Texas Gulf Coast pretty extensively, and even down into Mexico pretty extensively. Now, if you start getting really south into like Veracruz, Yucatan, that one interests me quite a bit. But I feel like I've done the Houston, Galveston, Corpus Christi, down to Reynosa thing pretty heavily here. And then definitely, you know, this like Panama City, Pensacola, Tallahassee, all the way back into Louisiana. That one, I've saturated that one quite a bit. When I start seeing stuff down here into Tampa and further south, I get real interested. When I see anything up to my north above, say, Monroe, Louisiana, I start getting really interested, right? Those are the things that, like, okay, I need to pay attention. So last year we didn't have a ton of Tropo. What we did, though, get was pretty spectacular. We had that one really nice one, like, I think it was August, that we got up into, like, Missouri and Iowa and Illinois, like, way up in. So that was pretty nice. Hopefully we can do that again this year. But you see this one here. This is a little path that looks like it's going to be opening up here down to my southeast. Well, that's what we had this morning, by the way. That's what developed. That's what I saw was coming on the forecast. I saw a path that was developing down to Florida, and it actually transpired. Here you see that path I was talking about along the Texas coast. Look at that coming in Thursday. Now, obviously, that's like a week out. I wouldn't trust that forecast. A lot's going to change, and it will change between now and then. But that's an indicator that we may have some stuff. But check out what my autologgers managed to snag for me. This is the autologger that's on the 21-foot dipole. This is a TEF radio on the dipole sitting at 21 feet. I have one little catch up here in Arkansas, which I need to double check and see if I've heard them and logged them before. I'm pretty sure I have this one here to be CTQ down here in Venice. I'm pretty sure. I'll have to double check. I know I have this KRB in Houston. That's a pretty common one here. So I need to check some of these over here. But this is the 21-foot dipole. Now let's take a look at the autologger connected to our omnidirectional wind guard up at 62 feet. Ready? Look at that. Hey, we got some stuff going on right now, actually. Tallahassee WGLF. This just came in. So I need to fire off the ELAD tonight. We had a little bit over here in Texas. The 62-footer wasn't seeing this stuff up in Arkansas, but it did see this southeastern component, and look at it. I have my first catch. I've been wanting Key West on FM forever, and I finally got him, thanks to my autologger. Again, I knew this was coming. I saw it showing up on Bill's Tropo forecast, and I just forgot. Otherwise, my ELAD would have been running. I would have had some recordings scheduled to catch some stuff. I would have been all over it. Totally forgot about it, but thankfully my autologger bailed me out. So there you go. There's WEOW down in Key West, WJIS in Bradenton. Both of those are definitely brand new, as is, I think, this WGLF that just came in this last hour here in Tallahassee. I'm pretty sure that one's also new. These two are relogs here in Waco and Houston, but my autologger bailed me out. Where I forget about the DX coming, my autologger doesn't. It's there. It captures it. It's awesome. So there you go. That's what we're looking at here right now, is some stuff that's been happening here on the FM side. So Gulf Coast folks, start kind of perking your ears up. Everybody else, if you aren't getting Tropo or any kind of DX conditions in your area, do your band scans now. Also, start looking at your gear and your setup. I need to do some rejuvenation. I'm about to take down my 4-element Yagi and replace it with a 4-element log periodic. That's going to be happening soon. I'm also going to be taking it from about 12 feet up in the air to 33 feet up in the air on a big push-up pole. So I got some purchases that I got to make. I'm also going to get another 33-foot mast for my 9-element stereo probe and put it up from 15 to 33 feet. So things are about to get real fun here. A little bit of FM work that we're going to be doing. Also putting up a new AIS/NOAA weather radio Yagi on that one of those masts. The other one's getting a TV antenna. So we're going to have a couple of antennas we need to get, but a log periodic for FM, boosting that up to 33 feet. We're getting the stereo probe up to 33 feet. It's about to get real fun. Okay. So a little bit of work we have to do equipment wise here on DX Central in the antenna farm to get ready for FM season. So start looking at that. Also, I have a bandpass filter that recently came in that I need to install here. This basically, we've on my stereo probe, and this is going to get rid of anything that's not FM. The only thing that's allowed to come through is FM, from 88 to 108. And so, yeah, this is going on. I've got one on one of my auto loggers, and it works really, really well. But this one is about to go on as well. So a little bit of work I need to do on some equipment, and then we'll be ready for FM season, man. And I really hope, after last year, I just hope we get something. All right? I hope we get something. All right, let's do some more shout-outs, because it's about that time.
Hear the call for every signal, big or small, from AM to FM, from sea to sea. We celebrate the ones who slag the IT. Shout out, let it be known, you're never DXing all alone. Through the static we found our way. Shout outs making waves today.
All right. And yes, Mike, that was my first catch of Key West. I haven't heard anything out of Cuba yet in Mandeville. And Key West was a big nothing for me so far. So getting those was very, very fun. Seeing that on the map, I was like, yeah, finally did it. Let's pick up our shoutouts where we left off last hour. Again, dxchallenges.com/shoutouts, where you can get yours in. And again, this is anything that you've heard since basically February the 7th, because that's the last time we did shoutouts. John Johnson in Arizona chiming in with 1510 KCTE in Independence, Missouri. Found this day timer on late night. This is the 5th station I've logged from Missouri. This brings my Mesa total to 898 stations logged. We heard them last night. They were on last night after dark, when they should have been off, relaying WHB Kansas City on 810. I heard them last night, and was very, very surprised. That was a new one for us too. So awesome job, my friend. Get you the new log in here. Saw that sucker up, and the horn of victory. Well done, my friend. Arizona to Missouri. That is probably not a pathway that opens up very often. David up in Maine. February had been the best DX month I've had here. There were some great openings the last few weeks to the Northwest, South, and into Europe. Here's the Northwest stuff. 970 WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota for his second from the state. 1030 KTWO in Casper, Wyoming for his second from the state. KVNI in Idaho on 1080 for his new state, number 42. KATL 770 Miles City, Montana for another new state, number 43. Down south, Dominicans, number 8 and 9, 700 Radio Gosen and Radio ABC on 540. Colombians, number 13 and 14, 810 HJCX and 700 W Radio. Puerto Rico, 850 WABA. That's his 10th Puerto Rican. We'll be talking about them again here in a little bit when we do our shout outs for ourselves. 860 Voice of Nevis. Man, I wanted this one. I chased these guys pretty hard after I saw that David heard them. Voice of Nevis, St. Kitts and Nevis, New Country number 24 on 860, y'all. It's a tough one here with WWL, but it's there. And New Europeans and Beyond, Radio Romania on 945 and 855 for the 3rd and 4th stations from that country. 882 BBC Radio Wales for England number 7. Moldova number 2 from 1413 Vesti FM. Saudi Arabia number 2 from Radio Jeddah on 1098. And Radio Kuwait on 1134 for New Country number 25. My goodness! 2 new states, 2 new countries, and a bunch of new stations and stuff that I've never heard before. Man, so we're going to get you started off with the new countries here and get your passport stamped, because that's pretty freaking awesome. Absolutely fantastic. Let's see here. Next, we got to do the states, because you got states, too. Some new Latin American stations, because that's also in there. And while we're at it, we're also sawing some pretty impressive logs here. I mean, Romania, England, Moldova, Saudi Arabia. That's pretty freaking awesome. Well done, man. I don't even know what to say. I mean, maybe it's not a bad thing that I took off some time for DX because David was getting all the good stuff. He was vacuuming up the DX up into Maine, so I wouldn't have had a chance to hear that stuff anyway. So, no, I'm just kidding. Good stuff, man. Outstanding DX. Well done and well deserved. You're in a really good spot up there for some good stuff, so glad you made it work. Stuart, W8SRC, normally West Virginia, was doing some February trip to Miami Beach, Florida. He said new Tropo catches from his early February trip on FM 96.9 WINK in Fort Myers, 101.9 WWGR Gator Country also in Fort Myers. Man, Florida this time of the year is superb for Tropo, up and down the peninsula. NOAA Weather Radio got WXJ 95 on the .4 in Key West. Nice. WWG 59 on the .4 in Venice, WWF 69 on the .425 in Fort Pierce, WWG 60 on the .45 in T-Table Key, about 330 miles away, his third farthest. Awesome. And KEC 50 on the .475 in West Palm Beach. Man, that's freaking great. I mean, that's superb. So well done, Stuart. Glad to see you in there, and hope you're enjoying your trip down to Florida. Sean says it almost makes me want to live in the Northeast again. If there's big powered European stations were still around en masse like that, yeah, I'd have to consider that, right? Because that's some good DX grounds up that way, man. Hate that I missed out on all the fun stuff before they started going away out in Europe. Our friend Dennis, he gets some stuff from time to time out that way, but he had some really good stuff here in his log. I think this is one he submitted last time we had a show, and we just didn't get in time for the show. So 1520 Knox, Indiana, WKVI, WEDI 1130 in Eaton, Ohio, 780 Radio Viva Pasto. That's a new Colombian, and that's at 2,544 miles for our friend Dennis. WFNN 1330 in Erie, Pennsylvania. XECPR in Quintana Roo. I always do that. 1,420 miles. And WFNW in Connecticut, a Portuguese station, also heard by Dennis. So quite a bit of new logs in there. We got a new Latin American station, so we're going to start off with that. And we're sawing some logs for him as well. All right. Well done, Dennis, my friend. I know he had to bounce early, but if you're watching the replay, well done, my friend. Our friend Stephanie, I apologize. This was actually down lower on the list, so I usually work from the top down, so I didn't see this, but there was a correction to the shout out that we had earlier. So the one that we had earlier was from an online SDR that she was doing some research on for some Trans-Pacific stuff. So this is actually from the Hacienda. 1422 kilohertz, JORF in Radio Nippon in Yokohama, Japan. Port to fair with a man and woman conversing in Japanese, even heard Tokyo pop up in the conversation. Had to manage significant splash coming from an unusually strong KMOG in Payson, Arizona on day power by that time of the morning on 1420. 50 kilowatts at 5,578 miles. New log, new country, new distance record. Also, we talked about the NDBs. 2 new NDBs for Stephanie as well. 407 CO in Colorado Springs, PD, Colorado, 25 watts at 732 miles. And 414 GRN in Gordon, Nebraska, 25 watts at 986 miles from Stephanie. So we're going to start off with new country because that is awesome. We're going to do this, even though we did it earlier, we're going to do this again for you. Did I mess up the Quintana Roo? I guess I did, didn't I? Quintana. Why do I keep doing the Roo? I don't know why I keep trying to throw in Quintana Roo. I'll get it. Oh, dang it. I try to do better about this stuff. Also, the NDBs, we'll get you the logs in here as well for that one. I don't know why I keep screwing that one up. Quintana Roo. Well done, Stephanie, my friend, and we got you in there. So happy about your logs, and I can't wait to see what other Trans-Pacific stuff you get, because that's going to, especially this gray line stuff, the sunrise in the morning, going after those DUs like Tim Trump was talking about, which we're going to talk about here in a second in relation to our challenge. Sean, just wanted to say hello to all on the channel tonight. Been taking a break from AM and enjoying some NDB DXing, as Lloyd mentioned at the beginning of the show. Needed a break from life for a bit, so I'll be DXing for the next few days from Central Missouri's N0AX ham radio contest station, using 2 500-foot beverages above ground, northwest and southeast. Ooh, man, that makes me excited. Plus a W6 LVP loop fixed at northeast southwest. So looking that opposite way, right? Very excited to see what you hear up there in Missouri, my friend. That's a very good station you're sitting at, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to show up in DB and medium wave. Carl, so we get you. My bad. Let's get you in here with this. I know you didn't submit a log in here, but we're still going to give you a nice little celebration in here. That's for the logs that are yet to come. How about that? The logs that are yet to come here from this trip. Carl, 28 stations logged during his our break here that we've had the last couple weeks. 15 of these were logged during the 2 weeks when there was no challenge. It was his own personal challenge that he called the New Station Frequency Challenge, designed to fill the log on frequencies with fewer than 5 stations, those with 5 to 9 stations, and then those with 10 or more. See? A methodical approach. I'm telling you, that is one of the quickest ways to fill your logbook. Start with at least 1 on every frequency, and then go to 2 on every, 3 on every, 4 on every, and then as you build that up, you're going to have some that have 5 and some that have 10, and then you can decide, okay, let's get all the 10s to 11, let's get all the 9s to 10, right? You can really use that kind of technique to fill your logbook up, so it's a super awesome technique. I love it. Before this, I had 34 frequencies with 10 or more stations. Now there's 35. 15 stations logged during the personal challenge, 710 WTPR in Paris, Tennessee, 1280 WADO in New York City. Been hearing that one lately on my recording review. 1310 WIBA Madison, Wisconsin, 1450 WLMR Chattanooga, 560 WQAM in Miami, 1320 WDER in Derry, New Hampshire. Respect. That's awesome for a new state. 1320 WMSR, Manchester, Tennessee. 1420 WMYN in North Carolina. 580 WHP in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. 580 WTCM in Traverse City, Michigan. 580 WILL in Illinois. 670 WRJR in Virginia. 1520 WXYB in Florida. 1440 WEBR in New York. And 1430 WYKG in Georgia, bringing his total to 990 stations. 10 more. I want 10 more coming from you this week, man. We got to get you 10 more, and we'll get to that big 1K. All right, man. So, love the initiative. Love the methodical approach you're taking, the initiative to do a personal challenge while we were taking our little bit of a siesta here and a little bit of a break. So, and it paid off. 28 stations, 15 of those during that challenge, and a bunch of new stuff. So, well done, my friends. You're getting this for a start, the logs. Is it? Yeah, it's Roo, right? It's Roo. Quintana Roo, not Roo, like you make a gumbo with. It's Quintana Roo, right? ROH, Roo. That's how it would be pronounced, right? Mess with me, man. I'm doing the best I can on that one. We also got Carl here with a new state, so we got to do that because New Hampshire ain't nothing to sneeze at from Tennessee, let me tell you. Well done, man. Well done. That takes us and gets us caught up on the challenge here. Or the shout-outs, rather. I do want to do something really quick before we get to our next DX session really fast. This won't take too long, so we're going to do a little tour of something we heard in the Slack.
It came from the Slack. It came from the Slack. It came from the Slack. That's where you'll find the job. It came from the Slack. The X is sharing tips now. It came from the Slack, and they're all your clips. Yeah, it came from the Slack. What they talking about, Lloyd?
What are we talking about? Well, it's very advantageous timing. He didn't realize it, but it's very advantageous timing on our the part of our friend Tim Trump up in Michigan, who is a super DXer who hears. I mean, if there's ever life on another planet, he'll be the first to DX them. That's what I'm saying about Tim Trump. So this is a note that he left here on the Slack channel here for us with the spring equinox approaching. I'll just put it up on screen as well. With the spring equinox, oh, that's gonna be hard to read. With the spring equinox approaching, March is one of the best months to look for high band down under stations, DUs, down Australia, New Zealand. Let's stop that right quick. Hold up. There we go. Why is that still going? I don't want that to be going. I want that off. Oh. There we go. Okay, now we got it taken care of. The last 2 mornings have already shown signs of life with several weak Aussie carriers noted with weak audio the past 2 mornings on some of those. Look for signal peaks during the hour leading up to your local sunrise. So you'll want to make sure you know your local sunrise about an hour up to that. Use tools like Jaguar's YASLog or WaveView DX to spot signal peaks on the 9 kilohertz splits on your overnight and sunrise recordings. Here is a little bit of 1548 4QD from Emerald, Queensland at 9,081 miles with a weak female talker under heavy KXEL slop. You'll need some headphones, so grab your headphones if you haven't done so already. Weak talk was also heard on 1611 yesterday morning. I would expect a few good mornings to come up with good high band DU conditions as we get further into March. Once March passes, I don't expect to have another shot at Australia until September and the fall equinox. So this is the time, very nicely timed, I might say, with our Gray Line Challenge, for looking for Trans-Pacific stuff down under. Are you ready? Let's play this clip he left for us here from the Slack channel. Oh, yeah. So you've got the audio there. That's definite audio in the... Oh, come on. Oh, I think I know why. That's why. It was that. Okay. There's definite audio in there in the slop, right? But it's definite. So if you're a Jaguar user with the Perseus, there is an opportunity for you to be doing your overnight recordings into overnight into sunrise, and then about an hour before your local sunrise, look at those YAS logs, looking for anything that might be there. Or if you're using the WaveView DX, which we haven't talked about here yet because I've been just starting to read about that. It's basically a carrier sleuth. If you're using that, if you're familiar, if you're up on that technology, then obviously that's there for you. But overall, just review those recordings. Don't forget, when you're reviewing your recordings, Stephanie recently figured this out, like learned it, right? When you're doing your recording reviews, don't forget the 9K splits. I never look at my 9K splits because I assume here in New Orleans I'm not going to hear much, but guess what? I have seen stuff before. I just haven't pulled anything out. So if I'm a little more diligent, a little more persistent on it, I'm probably going to have a little bit more success than I have not doing anything. Let's get back to the DX really quick. We were sitting here on 1180. Let's see if we can figure out who this was here on 1180. This DX session brought to you, by the way, by The Spectrum Monitor, spectrummonitor.com. Go there now and get your subscription. You're going to get some AMDX stuff. You're going to get a whole bunch of shortwave and ham radio and all kinds of stuff. So there's a little bit in there for everyone who's a DXer. Make sure you get that in. It's also top of the hour time.
DX Central Live Top of the Hour Alert.
All right, we are looking down south at 1180. Let's see if we can figure out who this is that we are picking up here on 1180. And I need to recenter my frequency here. And let's see. Is that VOA? So as a reminder, 1620. Oops. All right, there's 1620. Must have been love. And then we have a talker here. Who is the talker? David has Argentina right now on 870. All right. It's time to pull this sucker up and get that CCC rolling. On WWL, see if I can get rid of them. Take care, Stephanie. So again, the music that we're hearing, that is Rebeldy. There's another station here talking on top of them. And that's who we're trying to figure out who it is. And we know that if it is VOA, did I not put that up here yet? I haven't. My bad, I gotta put that up. That's Bonaire. I'm not hearing what they are, and usually they're hearing VOA. They sure do from time to time. There's Rebeldy.
Pero que pueden ser tenidos perfectamente en cuenta. Hablaba de Rogelio García, hablaba de Julio Romero.
Well, maybe.
Hablamos por cierto, Julio Romero. En el 2009 fue entrenador de picheo del equipo de Julio Romero.
Well, they're moving stuff around, aren't they?
Mesa del 2018, pero Julio Romero lo es con Germán Mesa y también con un hombre que fue el entrenador de bateo.
There's 670. That's not all Rebeldy.
Salda mucho por estos días.
And the music's not there.
Omar. Así que gracias por esta comunicación con nuestro amigo desde las tierras. Nos está escuchando.
Claro, él destaca puntos interesantes en el sentido de aprovechar. Creo que sí, que es probable que a lo mejor el mentor del equipo Cuba sea un mentor relativamente joven, no con esa trayectoria en series nacionales como puede ser por ejemplo Alfonso El Club, sino que sea uno de estos jóvenes que se han nombrado y que están en nuestro campeonato o que están en diferentes lugares en el mundo.
Here's Progresso. Or what should be Progresso.
por supuesto, de Rogelio García y de otros que pueden integrar este colectivo. Creo que el balance, ¿no?, de la experiencia, con lo mejor un acercamiento a un nuevo béisbol, la utilización de información que hemos comentado, entre otros factores, porque no solamente es la información, sino es cómo se está jugando la pelota. Creo que esta dinámica, que no solamente porque es joven a ti,
So that's Poderosa.
te corresponde unos conocimientos.
That's WWFE on 670 mixing with Rebeldy.
Y estén repitiendo los códigos anteriores. ¿Cómo con esto?
Complementar.
So
Con lo que otros
if Rebeldy is the guy on top talking,
colectivos son conjuntos.
that means this 1620 is not Rebeldy. Oops. That means Bon Jovi is not Rebeldy. That might be Biamo? That man talking is Rebeldy, and I'm thinking... So Rebeldy is here on 1180, but the Bon Jovi, that's not Rebeldy. But that's what we have on 1620, which is supposed to be Rebeldy. And they may be down underneath, potentially in here. But whoever this is running Bon Jovi is someone else. I'm guessing... There's Rebeldy. The only other network we know of that's on 1620 would be Radio Biamo. So, let's do this. They are really mixing it up on us here. Radio Biamo Cuba AM. Let's see if that's who this is. Nope. Don't think so. $620? I don't have that one here. I've got XENK. And it sounds like Rebeldy underneath them. The 1620. I don't know, man. I don't know who this is with Bon Jovi. Yeah, TAW is not music. College Station, they run talk. So unless this is a really long bumper for a talk show, that's to be TAW hearing underneath, probably. Maybe. There's someone else in there too. So there's a talking. That should be Rebeldy. Okay. Listen on 1620. You got Bon Jovi. There's another Spanish station underneath them that's not the talker from Rebeldy. If they're on, if this 1620 right here is a pirate playing Bon Jovi, they're also broadcasting on 1180. So we know on 1620 there's Rebeldy outlets out of Cuba and there's a Biamo, but this is not Biamo. We checked their stream. So unless their stream is out of whack, it's not them. This is Progresso. There's someone underneath them too. Whew. But the 1620 is strong. If I'm gonna guess, I think it's probably what was known as a Rebeldy outlet in Guanabacoa. Now I'm doing a different network. No ID. And again, that's not the 1620 Pirate because they're also broadcasting on 1180 with an echo. 530, good call. So there's the talker that we have on 670.
Le proponemos una pausa, enseguida estamos con más en Deportiva.
So we know 670 is still Rebeldy. 530 is still Rebeldy with Encyclopedia. I'm not hearing a Rebeldy on 620. Whoever this is on 1620 is loud. So this phone call right here is also on 1180 with Michael Bolton. Michael Bolton's on 1620 and 1180. Check 1550. Usually 1550 is a Rebeldy freak. No sign of him there. 1040.
Yeah, during one of his shows, he actually
We have the Wobbler. Speaking of, I don't hear the Wobbler on 650 right now. Oh yeah, I do. They're in there. Okay. So this is Cuba for you guys. This is what we deal with sometimes with the Cuban stations. They change networks and frequencies and stuff. So we know that 670 is Rebeldy. Okay, I confirmed that with the 9-note melody earlier. So that's definitely 670. What we're hearing is Rebeldy. We did have WWFE La Poderosa down in Miami also coming in there, but last time I checked, I didn't hear them anymore. So Rebeldy's on top. We also know that we hear Rebeldy on 530 along with Radio Encyclopedia. We know there's some Rebeldy outlets on 1180, but that was all you had on 1180 was nothing but Rebeldy with a bunch of echo. Not hearing that now. We do have the Rebeldy, but there's another station on top with some echo that we're also hearing that programming on 1620. That's not Rebeldy, where typically 1620 was a very well-known, loud Rebeldy outlet. Rebeldy might be underneath them, but there's the music station on 1620 that we're also hearing on 1180. Trying to remember some other outlets that I can check here. 630s Progresso, 40s Progresso, 50s Progresso, 60s Progresso, 70s Rebeldy. 710. Let's look at 710. See what we got there. I hear the Rebeldy in there weekly, but there's someone else in there. Pause. I think we just missed an ID, damn it. Yeah, I think we missed an ID. OUK, I've got that one here. Hold on. It is a decommissioned one that's now popped back up again. I've got them on here. Calhoun, Georgia. 25 watts. I don't know why I said 24. 25 watts. Calhoun, Georgia, OUK. That's what's on 323.
Estamos en vivo y en directo a través de la frecuencia modulada de Radio Rebelde. Saludamos a esta hora a los amigos que se han comunicado con nuestro colectivo a través del 5286-2852. Dice este mensaje así: hola, buenas noches. Quiero saludar a mi esposo Geraldo de Guanabacoa por nuestra relación de parte de Melvin.
100 kilogramos donde comenzó en esta campaña.
Radio Rebelde, muchísimas gracias a ustedes por su reporte de sintonía con nosotros. Felicidades a esa linda pareja, Geraldo y Melvis en Guanabacoa, sintonizando Radio Rebelde a esta hora de la noche. Otro mensaje dice: ese programa está muy bueno. Por favor, felicito a todas las abuelas del convento Belén por Día de la Mujer y especial a Vicky y a Marta. Saludos, colectivo. Pedro de la Luz está escuchando el programa. Muchísimas gracias por tu reporte de sintonía, Pedro. También por la felicitación a esas dos mujeres que están en total sintonía a esta hora con Radio Rebelde, a Vicky y a Marta, abuelas del convento de Belén, que también están sintonizando Radio Rebelde. Muchas felicidades por la buena emisora y las variedades que tienen. Es lo mejor que se escucha de parte del Pidio y su familia. Muchísimas gracias, El Pidio, por tu reporte de sintonía con Radio Rebelde. Muchísimas gracias, no pierda la costumbre. Buenas noches, programa Música Viva reportando. Continúa desde Trinidad Santi Espíritus, Manuel Hernández. Felicidades por la buena programación que nos regalan todas las noches. Felicito a todos los que están en sintonía con el espacio y todos los que me conocen. A ustedes también. Gracias, amigo. Manuel Hernández en Trinidad.
Impidió que su más experimentado rival.
Sintonía con Radio Rebelde. Hola, buenas noches. Un saludo para todos en el programa. Jorge Félix Delgado Gutiérrez está en San Francisco de Paula. Saludos para todos. Muchas gracias, Jorge Félix Delgado Gutiérrez. Está escuchando el programa en San Francisco de Paula. Muchísimas gracias por tu reporte de sintonía, amigo. Otro mensaje dice: buenas noches, mi nombre es Yerma, reportando sintonía desde Cárdenas. Saludos a mis hijas Joanis, Yareinis y Alison, y a mi esposo Rubén. Quiero escuchar cualquier tema musical de Carlos Rivera, por favor, complázcanme. Gracias a usted, querida Yerma, desde Cárdenas, reportando la sintonía con Radio Rebelde. Otro mensaje, que lindo saber que están en sintonía. Buenas noches, soy Eleni Granado desde Guines. Quiero que me complazcan con Ricardo Aracona. Saludos, soy fiel a su programa. Quiero que me complazcan. Hoy es primera vez que escribo con Ricardo Aracona, un tema musical. Gracias a usted, Eleni Granado desde Guines, reportando la sintonía con Radio Rebelde y su programa Música Viva. Hola, buenas noches a todo el colectivo de Música Viva. Sigo en Rebelde desde Haciendo Radio Frecuencia Total, misión así y con orgullo con este estelar que es Música Viva. Si es posible, quisiera saludar a mi esposa Alice, porque el próximo 8 de marzo será el Día de la Mujer. Gracias a usted, amigo. De Abel Inver desde Bayamo, reportando la sintonía. Felicita a su esposa Alice, porque el próximo 8 de marzo se estará celebrando el Día Internacional
Monetario. También hay que decir que todo pasa también por este factor que, como siempre,
de todo el colectivo de Música Viva, también para la amiga Adis, de parte de su esposo Abel Inver en Bayamo. Muchas gracias. Hola, buenas noches a todo el colectivo de Música Viva. Sigo aquí a Rebelde. Gracias por la sintonía. Este amigo es Haroldo desde Guira de Elena, reportando la sintonía junto a su primo William. Muchísimas gracias por sus reportes de sintonía con nuestro colectivo. Sigo saludando. Saludos de parte de Fructuoso Vázquez desde Santa Cruz.
Are they taking requests or like shout outs from listeners?
Me gustaría que me complazca.
Hey Rebelde, we're hearing you.
Laura Pausini. Gracias, Fructuoso Vázquez desde Santa Clara, reportando la sintonía con Radio Rebelde. Otro mensaje dice: saludos a mi bella y querida amiga Rosalía Arnaez y al colectivo de Antena Musical en Radio COCO, donde fui invitada hace aproximadamente 2 años. Un placer saludarlos de parte de Dubian Porro, holguinera, cantante, compositora, amiga de la radio de Vicuba Bella. Saludos y bendiciones. Gracias a usted, Rubian, por su reporte de sintonía con Radio Rebelde. Sigo saludando a esos amigos que se comunican con nuestro colectivo. Dice este mensaje: buenas noches, Música Viva, sintonizando este bello programa desde Moa. Un saludo para ustedes y demás trabajadores. Les saluda Daniel Solá. Gracias, Daniel Solá, en Moa, sintonizando el espacio Música Viva. Gracias por tu reporte. Hola, buenas noches. Estamos en sintonía con el programa de Versalles Matanzas, Garderías
Now, who's this coming up?
Gracias, Gardenia. Manténgase en sintonía con nosotros.
Mateo Muñoz, Junco.
En próximos minutos.
Vete caminando, nena.
Estamos escuchando el programa de Santi Espíritus. Si nos pueden complacer, por favor, con...
Por hoy nos vamos. Irma Prada, Luis Alberto Posada, Mayrín Palmero Pascual, Adalena Guzmán.
Gonzalo González, tu reportero de sintonía de Santi Espíritus con radio.
Y yo, Mauricio Lomonte, el que da la hora. Todos juntos te invitamos al regreso y será mañana mismo.
That's Progresso.
A las 9:30.
Muchas felicidades de parte.
All right. Okay, this I don't think I've ever seen this before from Cuba. We have 2 different programming runs right now, both identifying as Radio Rebeldi. We've got the one we've been listening to, and you've heard all the Rebeldi IDs, okay? Like that. This guy's also Rebeldi. And we know that because they played the 9-note Rebeldi melody earlier. This is 670, a known Rebeldi outlet. Multiple outlets, really. And we're also hearing that same guy on 530, another known Rebeldi outlet. Now we have another station showing up. This is a mess. This is a mess, guys. I would say it's worth like exploring and trying to figure this out, but they're going to probably just change it again in a couple weeks or days or whatever. But so you've gotten right now, they have an AM and that's okay. That makes sense, Jacob. Thank you. So the music sounds like the FM feed, I'm guessing, right? On 1620, and then the AM feed's doing the talk. So you've got multiple outlets on 1180, because we heard both of these on 1180, right? We have multiple outlets that were running Rebeldi on 1180, and then multiple on 1620. Right now, it sounds like some of them are running the FM, some are running the AM. That makes sense. So, if you're trying to match up Rebeldi, keep that in mind. You may be hearing their FM or their AM being relayed on AM. I wonder if that's a Friday night thing. I wonder if that's a special thing for Friday nights. You know, party time, let's play some music, do some shout outs from the station that reaches the beaches. They have the streams on the Rebeldi site. Then there's Encyclopedia down on 530. Yeah. That's who's on top here over the Rebeldi station.
Nuestro correo electrónico instrumental@renciclopedia.icrt.cu.
They come in here in the daytime. They're a fun station to listen to in the daytime here. So there you go. So that's interesting. And so where it makes the most confusion is on 1180. Because you've got both Rebeldis happening at the same time. You have the AM and the FM on 1180, both happening at the same time. And there's somebody else in there too, with music right now. And there's a bunch of these outlets on 1180, and they're not all synced up very well, so this is a mess. That's a mess. There you go. All right. I guess let's go ahead and do our recap of what we've heard here. And we'll wrap up for the night and give you guys a chance to get some sleep, because you're going to want to get your recordings in. Okay. Again, super, super, super cool move would be to do some sunrise recordings this morning, right? As we head into overnight, do some sunrise recordings starting about an hour or so before your local sunrise and to about an hour after. And you're going to have a couple things happen there. Obviously, your normal gray line enhancement, but also, like we were talking earlier from Tim Trump's post, a shot at maybe some DUs if you're so inclined and so lucky and well positioned and have some good antennas and stuff. And then you have your sunset tomorrow night, so don't forget sunset, doing some recordings. Then we change time, and that's going to give us a whole different look, right? Because now that hour before sunset is going to be in a little bit different daylight configuration. That same time will now be a little bit different, so something to think about. So the sunrise challenge, sunrise sunset gray line challenge. Now on for the next 2 weeks. That's what we're doing, is the gray line challenge. I would definitely recommend doing some sunrise recordings. I'm going to be setting mine up here in AirSpy a little bit, and on the Perseus, just so I have some stuff rolling. Let's do our stuff that we've caught here over the last bit. We'll start with AM here first. Since last we met, which was on the 7th, the next night, this was a big one for me. 750 KOAL in Price, Utah. Only the second Utah station that I've heard here. They were there under WSB, and I was using a Kiwi out in Utah to match up with what I was hearing here, and snagged my second ever Utah log. And that was a big one there on the 8th. We followed that up with a couple of new ones here. WMMA in Alabama. WGSV also in Alabama. WVOC Columbia, South Carolina for a new one. I've been chasing them for a while. WAYR Orange Park, Florida just showed up one night after 4 years almost of chasing these guys. They finally just showed up one night. My guess is they were on late, their daytime power on late, but they were there with the religious music and stuff, and was able to match it up with their online stream. Then didn't really do much the rest of February, travels and stuff. And then we hit March. Again, you guys might know my goal is to get 5 stations logged every month of the year, so I can make sure I'm pushing myself to DX every month, because I usually forget some months. But I made it in February, and we have 2 already in here in March. The first of those was WABA 850 in Puerto Rico. Was able to match them up with their stream the other night. Had them underneath some other stations here on 850 in like Alabama and stuff, but able to snag my second Puerto Rico here in Mandeville. And then last night, KCTE in Independence, Missouri. We already talked about that one coming in when they shouldn't have been on. They're on 1510, was listening to Monumental, which was booming in last night out of Ecuador. LAC was weak, and then there was another station doing sports talk, and I was like, wait a minute, who's that? And it turned out to be KCTE in Independence, Missouri. So very nice to get them in there. That puts us now at 1,068. I want to say it's 68 now. Yeah, 1,068 stations here in Mandeville on AM, so we're closing in 32 more, and we'll be at 1,100. Maybe we can do that by the end of the season. We already talked about the FM stuff. It was just the stuff that was captured here, mostly off of the auto log. We saw these here. There was also another station that we added in. I think it was, let me go back and look and see who that was. Late here in February, and then also in March. Again, these were auto logs. We had the 25th of February, we had WCYT in Lafayette Township, Indiana, from some meteor scatter. And then a Tropo catch, KZLG in Mansura, Louisiana here. My first ever log in the month of March in Mandeville, another auto logger to code. Those 2 put us up now to 1,167 stations logged here in Mandeville on FM. With those other 3 that we talked about earlier on the auto logs still yet to be put in, and so have some work to do getting those in the logbook, and then we'll be set. All right, my friends, I think that's going to do it for us this evening. Glad to be back in the seat again and back on camera in front of you all. Hopefully you've enjoyed the show and enjoyed your break, because we're going to hit this hard. We have this challenge and then 3 more challenges left, 8 more episodes after tonight. And then we'll be wrapping up season 5 and getting ready for the Summer of DX Part 2. We'll be doing that again this year, and some FM DX as well. So we'll be getting ready for ramping all that up here as we cruise on into May. From all of our sponsors, National Radio Club, nationalradioclub.org, IRCA, the International Radio Club America, ircaonline.org, and the Spectrum Monitor, thespectrummonitor.com. From all of our sponsors, to all of you, thank you so much for your support. We'll talk to you again next week at 23:45 UTC next time. 1845 Central for DX Central Live. Take care, my friends.
Friday night rolls in the air, tuning in without a care. Lloyd Van Horn takes the stage. DX Central Live engage. AM FM static fight, chasing signals all through night. Waves that travel far and wide. Feel the magic deep inside. DX Central Live tonight. Turning dials, feeling right. Lloyd will guide us through the waves. All the signals we will crave. Frequencies that cross the sea. Mysteries for you and me. Lloyd's voice cuts through the noise. Feel the thrill, enjoy the joys. Ghostly whispers in the dark. Find a station, hit the mark. Fading in and fading out. Lloyd helps clear the doubt. Stories from the distant land, caught by waves that we command. From our homes we hear the call. DX Central Live for all. DX Central Live tonight. Turning dials, feeling right. Lloyd will guide us through the waves. All the signals we will crave. DX Central Live tonight. Turning dials, feeling right. Lloyd will guide us through the waves. All the signals we will crave. DX Central Live tonight. Turning dials, feeling right. Lloyd will guide us through the waves. All the signals we will crave. DX Central Live tonight. Turning dials, feeling right. Lloyd will guide us through the waves.
This is DX Central Live. This is DX Central Live. This is DX Central Live.